welcome to the channel. I'll be showing us how to create basic documents in Photoshop using time fonts and some of the basic tools. So after you open your Photoshop software, I currently use the Photoshop 2020 version. After you open the software, you're welcome with this welcome screen where you have welcome to Photoshop, we are glad you are here, and we have the create new file command and open. You can click on open when you have a document, a Photoshop document you've previously worked on that you want to open. For the purpose of this session, I'll be creating a new file. So click on create new. So here, this dialog box here gives us the ability to give a name to a document we want to work on. So you can give a title that you want. First design. You can also select the paper type you want. Do you want it to be custom? Do you want to be international standard? Do you want it to be mobile app design interface? Any option that you want, you can select it from here. Also, since I'm using custom, I always like making my design using 5x5 inches, which is the standard for Instagram. So I use inches, 5x5. And also the resolution, you can either use 72, 150 or 300 depending on how heavy you want the design to be. For example, I usually prefer to use 150 pixels per inch. It makes the work clearer. And also we have two color modes. We have the RGB and CMYK. Usually if you're working on a design that it won't be printed, it is advisable to use RGB, or if you'll be printing it, it is advisable to use CMYK because that's the color code that the printing machine recognizes. I advise for the background content, I always leave it white, and for the others, I advise you leave it unless you know what you're working with. Then click on OK. So voila, you're welcome. This is the interface for you to create the amazing design that you have in your mind. So I'll be explaining some of the basic tools to use this software. As you can see on the menu here, we have the file, we have the edit, we have the image, we have the layer, type, select, filter, 3D, view, windows, and help. So I'll be explaining the basic tools that I use to complete my work to make it very easy for me. So under file, as you can see, you can open a new design. You can open if you have a previously saved work. You can close, you can save, you can export, you can automate in case you want to do a PDF presentation. You can print. Under edit, once we start working with Photoshop tool, all these commands will be active for you to see how it is being used. Also, when you have images in your design, you can easily make adjustments on the image brightness level. All these will be shown to us. Also, once we start working on the design, some of these commands will be active for us to see how they are being used. So now not to bore us, I'll move on to the design tools, which are the ones you can see on the left side here. So for the first one here is the move tool. Here what the move tool is for, as you can see from the animation movie, the move tool is used to drag content on the design space, which is this white space. It is used to move content around. The next one is the rectangular marquee tool. Usually when you try to copy a specific aspect of an image, or you're trying to cut away some parts, this is the tool that we use. You see it in action as we go more. Also, we have the lasso tool. As you can see from the animation, the lasso tool is a cutting tool also. And as we move along, you will learn more. The magic wand tool. This is one of my favorite tools for Photoshop because when you need to delete backgrounds, when you don't want to cut, you don't want to train to cut away some part of images that you don't need, you can quickly use the magic wand tool to delete. Also, we have the crop tool here. I believe everybody knows what the crop tool is for. As you can see from the animation, you can easily use it to cut out unwanted spaces in a design. Also, we have the frame tool to draw frames in the design. If you want to put image, as you can see from the animation in the design. Some of the ones here, the eyedropper tool are for photo correction. You have the eyedropper tool, the spot healing tool, the brush tool, the clone tool, the history brush tool. There are a lot of tools on this software. You don't have to use everything, you just need to know the ones you need to get results on whatever job you're working on. So the most important one here that for me to show you is the type tool. This is where you use the tool that you use to type any text you want on your design. So without wasting much of our time, also this is this hand tool in case you want to move the design. When you have something, after you make design on the document, when you want to move it around, you can use the design tool. Also, this is the zoom in case you need to zoom into your design. You can zoom. So when you want to zoom out, you can press the Alt key on Windows and zoom out. So going back to the move tool, on the right side we still have tools here. On the right side you can see the layer. The layers will show all the contents of my design that I'm working on. So let me type something now. Like I said earlier, this is the first design, first training. So as you can see, I've clicked on the tab tool. I clicked on the design area. So okay, the character tool, this is where you can easily manipulate your type tool properties, the size. Do you want it to be bold? Do you want it italicized, capital, underlined, and change the weight of the type tool also. So for this situation, we're going to tap first design. As you can see that I cannot see what I typed. That's because the type tool color here is in white. So you click on it to change the color. You can select any coloration you want, or I always like white and black. There's an error here. First design. So another rule of thumb to note is that once you are done typing, in order to click out, you have to click out of the type tool, you have to press Ctrl Enter. So that once you do that, you can now click on the move tool. This is where you see how the move tool works. Click on the move tool, and you can easily drag around what you just designed or what you just typed. You can see. Okay. Also explaining the rectangular tool, you can usually make it use it to make a selection. As you can see, I typed first design here. If I use the rectangular tool, as you can see, the rectangular tool is over first. If I click on delete, okay, another thing to explain from this error that you can see, could not complete your request because the pixel restores the layer. There are some images that are smart objects, and before you can have direct access to edit them, you need to convert them. So if I come over to my layer box section here, and I right click on first design, I have to rasterize the layer, which means I'm unlocking the layer for manipulation. So if I come back and I click on delete now, you can see it is gone. That's because I've rasterized the layer. Clicking on Ctrl Z, it comes back. That's how the rectangular tool works. To deselect this rectangular tool that I'm currently using, just click on, for Windows, Ctrl D, and for Mac, Command D. Explaining the lasso tool, like I explained earlier, the lasso tool is also a cutting tool. You can draw around to make a selection where you want to delete. I click on delete, you can see it is gone. Go back, Ctrl D to deselect. My magic wand tool, when I have a picture or a design I've worked on previously, I'll use that and show you how it works. Also, to draw basic shapes, you can click on the rectangle tool, and as you can see, there is a small arrow here What that arrow means is that there are still some other options aside from the rectangle tool that you can see. So if you right click, you can see other options. Everywhere you can see these small arrows, that means there's other options outside the one you're currently seeing. So if you right click on the rectangle tool, you can see I have rectangle tool, rounded rectangle tool, ellipse tool, polygon tool, line tool, and custom shape tool. So let me click on the rectangle tool. I want to draw over first design. Once again, you can see that the rectangle tool that I just drew over this design, it is above the first design. This is where the layer comes to play again. The way the layer works is any previous work that you make, once you create a new content, the layer above it overshadows what's under. So if I drag this rectangle down to under first design, you can see the blue line. That means I'm putting that rectangle under first design. Now you cannot see it now because the color is in white. As you can see, as I selected the rectangle tool, the property pops up here. What you can see here is the fill. It's the shape fill tool. So if I change it to, let's say, let me change it to red, you can see the color. If I also want to give it a border, which is called stroke type here, currently there is nothing there, but I want to give it a shape, I can give it, let's say, black, and I can increase it here to, let's say, 5. If 5 is small, let me use 20. You can see 20. Let me reduce it to 10. As you can see, another thing to take note of, these sections here represents the 4 angles, corners that you can see here. And you can see this chain. What this chain means is whatever number I input here affects all the other areas. So if I input 10 here, you can see all the angles are curved. Let me use 30. You can see. What if I click out of this chain, what that means is if I edit this area alone, whatever correction I make here will not affect other sections. As you can see, I inputted 0 here. This place is back to its default angle, while the others are still maintaining the initial 30. So that's the basic Photoshop usage.